What's up, everyone? On this week's episode of the Pit Therapy Podcast, we are back with another local band episode. First up, we're talking about the Austin metallic hardcore band Soul Exchange. They recently dropped an EP called Two Faces of Shame. It's fantastic, a nice throwback feel to the late 90s, early 2000s metallic hardcore. Next up, we're talking about the IE California metallic hardcore band Darasuum. These guys started clear back in 2009, went on a bit of a hiatus, it looks like, from about 2011 to 2021. But their last EP, Thriving on the Divide, is one of my absolute favorite EPs since it was introduced to me by Brandon Heatley a couple months back. They are a fantastic band, and they are going to be playing with No Innocent Victim coming up here in November. Check out these two EPs and jump into this episode. Let's open this pit up.
Somebody hit somebody!
What's up, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Pit Therapy Podcast with me, Trevor, and Kyle. I'm back. The last episode,
You're not sacrificing virgins anymore? You're back?
I don't even know what to say about that last episode.
Oh, come on.
I was going through and I was editing, and number one, I guessed the majority of the bands that I thought you were going to say. I was hoping you were going to be a little bit more diverse in your GOAT opinions.
Yeah, but objectively thinking about who the GOAT is and from these genres, like whether I like them or not, you can't, like, it's hard to argue some of it, you know?
I hate that debate. I really do, just because, I mean, the only one that I will legitimately give you crap for is your pop take.
You can't argue what she's done, dude. She's boosting global economies.
I don't care. I don't care, man. Like, Michael Jackson was the king of pop. You can call him R&B or whatever you want, but he was the king of pop. So
yeah. I mean, I even said that. I said if you categorize him as pop, I'd probably put Michael. So,
yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. I hate the GOAT conversation.
Go listen to it. I know.
Yeah.
It's fun though. It's fun to think.
It is. No, you guys did a great job. And if you haven't, like you just said, go listen to it. We had our buddy Chris on, who's been on several times.
Dude,
and
his takes, man, like freaking Bjork and like Lil Peep. I couldn't.
I know. But that being said, like, he put some thought into who. And here's the difference, right? Is like, I feel like he put thought into who his GOATs were, and you put your thought into objectively who the GOATs are.
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit of a difference there, right?
That's why you come to us for this stuff. You know, you're gonna get it all. You're gonna get the vanilla, really boring takes, you know, and then you're gonna get actually well thought out ones. It's solid. We touched all the bases, you know.
You did. And listen, the one where I would have gotten crap is, and it's because I'm coming from a personal view, is the GOAT of metalcore for me is Parkway Drive, but only the first 3 albums. And it's because they're still doing it. They have longevity. They've transitioned away from metalcore, more into mainstream metal kind of thing. And dude, they're on top of the world right now. You know what I mean? So that's the one where I think I would have gone crap, but
show up next time, man.
Listen, man, I was out in Philly. I went and caught Dying Wish out in Philly, dude. And that was fun, man.
Looked sick. Looked way cool.
Yeah. So I showed up a little bit late. My meetings got done a little bit late that night. So I ended up catching Out of Pocket, Dying Wish, and a few songs from Pain and Truth. And then I was beat. And so I went back home, but Philly crowd, man.
Was Pain and Truth headlining?
Yeah.
I thought Dying Wish was headlining.
I don't know.
Matters, but
I don't know how it worked because Pain and Truth headlined out here in Salt Lake as well. So I don't know if they were swapping headlines and I just happened to catch Pain and Truth headlining both times. But yeah, dude, the Philly crowd is wild. they were super welcoming, accommodating for me and stuff. Like I really
Cool.
appreciated it, and it was a ton of fun, man. Like it's a freaking great scene out there.
That's cool. It's tight.
So
You
yes,
see
sir.
all the you see all the videos of that venue, and it's sick that you got to go there. So
Right. Right. Yeah, I felt kind of stupid because like so I walk up, right? This place was like 5 minutes from my hotel. It wasn't a far walk. It was just down the road from me. But I walk up, all the kids are standing out front. They're all chatting and, doing their thing. And it's all like bars and boarded up and stuff like that. And so I'm like walking around this building and finally I go up to someone. I'm like, dude, how do I get into the venue? And they're like, it's like downstairs, right? Like go walk past those guys and go down the stairs and then you're in. I was like, okay. So then I'm going
first
and
time.
yeah, first time there. So anyways, I just felt kind of stupid, but shout out to Brett from Plead the Widow's Cause. He was the one who hit me up and he was like, hey, if you're in Philly, like this show's out here tonight, like go check it out. So, I
Nice.
appreciated the recommendation
Yeah.
and I was able
Oh,
to
that's
slip
sick.
out and catch it.
Yeah, that's tight. Good for you.
Yeah, man. What about you? How's Halloween?
It was all right. Uh, we had a lot of trick or treaters, surprisingly.
Why are
Like
you saying surprisingly?
I just the last couple of years we just haven't had that many. But like this Halloween, we ran out of candy pretty quick. So
Is your guys' neighborhood kind of the same as mine? Like, are they still building in there?
uh, it's not anymore. It was right. I think it's done now.
Okay.
So so here's something interesting. Like there's like one street in our neighborhood that's like they go all out, right? Like every house on the street has these like over the top decorations. Not for Christmas, it's just Halloween, which is funny because like I think we're all familiar with neighborhoods that go like crazy for Christmas, right?
Yeah.
This street, no, though, it's always Halloween, and like every house on the street is goes crazy. There's like a guy dressed as Pennywise every year, like it's just cool stuff, right? But so it's like it's I don't know, maybe 3/4 of a mile away from our house, and we always walk to it. But I felt bad this year because all the streets like leading up to this, no one was trick or treating it, and there's all these people like sitting out because that's what they do in Texas because it's always good weather. So people will like sit out on their driveway in lawn chairs and then put up like a card table with candy and
Huh.
stuff. So people just hang out front and like they'll watch if there's like sports games or whatever. I don't know. It's fun, but like I just felt bad because this one street like took up all the attention, and all these other streets it's just people lonely, like sitting out on their driveways, and no kids are coming up to them. I felt really bad about it. Are you like, are you cool with these like streets that take all the attention? Like it kind of screws everyone else over.
I mean, depends on your view on if you consider being screwed or not. I mean, maybe they're like, I only have to buy one bag of candy.
Yeah.
Like, it's good for me.
No, dude,
So,
like these like old people were posting on Facebook, like, please come to our street. Like we miss trick or
oh,
treaters. Come to our street.
so
It's
we
because
have a
everyone just goes this one street every year.
directly east of us, we have a 55 and older community. And so,
Mm.
like, as a neighborhood, we'll actually go up into the 55 and older community like a
Cool.
couple days before, and we'll trick or treat just that area,
That's fun.
just like as a community or whatever. So,
Yeah.
it's a way to kind of avoid some of that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Because I guarantee if it was just on Halloween night,
No
that
one would gather.
neighborhood wouldn't get hit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I get that. I understand
Yeah.
that.
The other thing that's ruining it are these freaking trunk or treats. Get that crap out of here.
Yeah, that's getting
Get
to
the
be a bit too
no,
much.
it is. It's crazy. It's like, oh, I'm going to go to 6 trunk or treats in like a week and a half before Halloween and then walk around trick or treat. Nah, get rid of the trunk or treats, dude. They're stupid.
I'm with you.
I ain't about that. So
I'm with you on that. I have eaten about 3 times as much candy as my kids have. So like
yeah,
I'm good with one night because I have no self-control. Like my sweet tooth is ridiculous. You should see the pile of wrappers sitting next to my computer right now. It's kind of gross.
Gross.
I'm not going to show
Yeah.
it. So
Our kids were like, it's like Halloween was what, Thursday?
yeah.
They've had Friday, Saturday, and today to have like a couple pieces of candy. Tomorrow it all goes in the garbage. It's gone.
Oh yeah, that's what
Yeah,
you
we're
guys
not.
do.
Yeah, we're not. We're not candy eaters. You know, we try to be healthy, but like we just there's way too much, and I don't even want it there. You know, it's
Yeah.
gone. Tomorrow it's gone. So
Yeah, we don't have to worry about that because I'll eat all of it before then. So, that's the problem with me.
up next, Trevor describes his battle with diabetes.
Oh man. Like who freaking knows? But
Yeah,
dude. Anyways. Um what else? What else is new, man?
nothing. Just gearing up for the holidays. Just trying to make it to the holidays. I think is better. It's better said that way.
Right. Dude,
So
we're finally starting to get like to the tail end of the insane fall run we had out here in Salt Lake, where it was just like every week there was like 2 shows. And again, there's still a ton of shows this week. Like I'm catching 4 Year on Wednesday. I'm catching Recidivist on Friday. Like I'm pretty sure
nice.
there's a show next week. I know the 15th is when Josh is playing. So I'm catching that one.
Yeah, that'll be
Dude,
tight.
it's nonstop, man. But
Yeah.
it's fun. It's a good thing.
So I know Bane is coming here next Friday on the 8th,
Okay.
but I've got birthday stuff and I just not going to be able to make it. Couldn't find a babysitter. So I'm missing that. I'm pretty bummed. I mean, I'm not super bummed about missing Bane because we just saw him,
Yeah.
but Desmadre just announced that they're playing that, and I would have loved to have seen them.
Yeah.
I think Change is on there too, and they're a cool like California band. Um, so I'm a little bummed I'm missing those guys. I don't really care to see Stick to Your Guns. I think their new music kind of sucks. So like I'm not heartbroken about missing that. But
That's an old enough show. I wonder if they'll play an older set though.
yeah, maybe. It'll be a heavier set, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, but no, I'm kind of bummed I'm missing that. But I am going to 4 Year Strong on the 20th. So
Yeah.
that'll be fun. And that local show that you sent me got announced down here
Dude.
in Dallas that looks real cool. So
That toy drive 2-day thing.
yeah. Yeah. Especially like the first day I'm gonna try and make it because like I'm a big fan of like Spit My Rage and stuff. But the second day with like Will to Live and Visions of Mortality, like yeah, dude, it's gonna be tight.
Yeah.
So,
No, that'll be sick. That's the one where I've got a flight credit that I'm sitting on from the hell that I had coming back from Boston this summer.
yeah,
And I'm like, maybe I can swing out there,
do it. Do it, dude.
That'd be freaking dope.
It'd
But
be
it's a
fun.
Saturday
So
and Sunday too.
yeah,
Like, but my wife is also going to be about 3 weeks from giving birth at that point, and
fun.
I think that she's sick of me being gone because, dude,
You have been gone a lot.
I've been gone a lot.
Yeah.
It's been a bunch, but it's been worth it. It's all been good. So
yeah. And then after that Hey Today show, I'm still on the fence for it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I really want to see Living Sacrifice. So
yeah,
I wish you could buy like a discounted ticket just to see one band and then leave.
and then they kick you out.
Yeah, like let me spend $10 to go see Living Sacrifice set and then I'll go home. Like I think Oh Sleeper and He's Legend are on it too. So like it
For
would be a
real?
fun show. But I'm really only going to see Living Sacrifice. So I don't know. We'll see.
I'd go see that if He Is Legend and No Sleeper were on
Did I
it.
lose you?
Did you? And the technical difficulties continue. So, last thing you said is He Is Legend and Oh Sleeper are on that show with Haste of the Day. And I was just saying I'd go see it for them. Like when we were out at Furnace Fest, we caught a couple songs from Oh Sleeper, and then they had those technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Oh Sleeper's they're a fun band, man. So
Yeah,
I'd go catch it for
they're
them.
from Dallas too, so I know that when they play here,
Oh,
um,
okay.
it's usually like pretty cool shows. So I don't know. I don't remember when it is in December. I actually think it's like pretty close to that local show,
Uh,
and so I'm gonna go to the local show over this one purely out of the fact that like I just saw all these bands except for Living Sacrifice. That'll be the one that bums me out not
sure.
seeing them. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully I can make it work, but
I gotcha.
who
I
knows?
gotcha. Well, what about new music? What have you been listening to or what have you been seeing come out?
Dude, I'm trying to think of new music. I know that band Stateside, that like pop punk band. I think they
Okay.
released another song. Super good. I'm really enjoying their sound. Um Other than that, like outside of one of the bands that we're going to talk today,
Yeah.
uh I haven't listened to a ton. I know In Angles dropped
Yeah.
a song, uh, and in Angles fashion, it's really good. It's an In Angles song, so it's exactly what we've always said or what they sound like. Like you just, it's great. Like it's awesome.
It's
So
like that progressive post-hardcore sound. They do it better than anyone out there right now. I
yeah,
love In Angle's sound. They've got that mathy, like I said, progressive kind of sound and stuff. It's called Trench. It is definitely worth going and listening to. I'm super excited for this album release. I haven't been paying enough attention to know like when the album's dropping, but Melonhead was another sick single from this, so
yeah,
I'm pumped.
yeah.
It's gonna be
It's
dope.
really good. There's a band out of St. Louis that I've been a fan of. They're called Squint.
Oh yeah, you sent that to me.
Yeah, they
I had a
just
chance to
released a new
listen to it,
song. It's
but
really cool. There's like this, it's like Drug Church but heavier.
oh,
So
okay.
there's like a really cool, I don't know, like branch of hardcore that's coming out with this like, I don't know what you would call it. Like it's not very fast, heavy hardcore. It's yeah, it's like Drug Church but heavier. It's kind of cool. Like Squints like that. There's this band from Texas called Drip Fed.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of other examples
We
of
were
it.
talking about this. It's like the anxious, the one step closer.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah,
I would say it's a little heavier than both of those,
sure.
but in the
Okay.
same vein, right? Where it's like it's I don't know. It's like a little more melodic, but it's not like counterparts melodic. It's
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. It's really cool. It's a nice change of pace sometimes in some of the hardcore. So
Yeah, for
cool.
sure. You know, the couple that I saw, No Cure, they dropped another single and announced a new album coming out in December. The song is Don't Need Your Help. No Cure is one of those bands where they have developed like a specific sound.
Yeah.
Like if you listen to a new No Cure single, you're like, oh, that's No Cure. Like they haven't deviated much. You know what I mean?
Right.
Since Curse from Birth. And I love it. Like it's a sound that I really enjoy. I don't know if it's more just because of like their vocalist. He has a pretty unique scream. I'm wondering how much is like him.
Yeah.
But then like I was listening to like the riffs and stuff too, and their structure in their songs and stuff, the way that they lead into breakdowns, like all that kind of stuff, it's all very similar. So it's just like it's a No Cure sound. And so like they've kind of cultivated their own kind of
Yeah.
formula on this heavy hardcore sound. Um, so I'm excited. I'm excited for that album to drop in December. They just signed
Sharp
to
tone.
Sharp Tone. That's right.
Hmm. Yeah.
So that'll be dope. Uh, Another band we've talked about, Pure Bliss. They dropped their album. It's called
Yeah.
Torture Realm.
It's heavy. It's good.
It's just another beatdown record,
Yeah.
right? But when I say just another, I say that with all love.
Yeah.
Like I love Pure Bliss. I'm happy that this is the sound that they came out with because we talked about it before. Like their first couple albums were a little bit more thrashy. Their last two, Age of Judgment, and then this one are just
Yeah.
heavy.
What I like about them is it's not sometimes with some of the beatdown is it gets really cheesy. Like that's my problem with like Tsunami and uh like Speed. Sometimes it feels a little cheesy, you know?
Okay.
Like Never Ending Game, I think is a good example of like beatdown that's done well. That's not
Okay.
cheesy. And I
Yeah.
think Pure Bliss kind of falls in that line too. Is it's not just like straight up tough guy lyrics the whole time. Like there's actually something that they're singing about. You know what I mean? So
Maybe.
maybe,
I don't know.
at least to my dumb ears, it sounds. I
Sure.
don't know.
I mean, like, I enjoy Pure Bliss, right? Like everyone's gonna have their beatdown bands that they enjoy. Pure
Yeah.
Bliss is one of those for me, So
I guess that's a good way to put it, right? If you
yeah.
only listen to beatdown, like, I don't know, man. But everyone should have at least one or two like that are their beatdown bands, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like that's my beatdown band. So like I'm a
That's
fan
fair.
of Pure
All right.
Bliss.
Yeah. See,
And
Never Ending
then
Game is mine.
there
So
you go. And then the other one that I have to make sure I talk about is Recidivist, man. The local boys here, they just dropped Madness Malformed. It is, if you're into death metal with kind of a hardcore flair to it, it is great.
yeah,
And they're doing an album release show on this Friday, which this episode will come out after it. So I'm expecting that it was just fabulous. Uh, but it's awesome. They're really cool dudes. The music's really cool. It's fun because like how do they describe it? They describe it as like skeletonized metal or something like that. Like it's just
so
they have
death
a
metal.
song. Well, like even more so though. Like they have a song called "Zombie Invocation" on this album. Like it's just like it's fun. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So I'm a big fan, and I'm pumped to catch it. They just hopped on Creator Destructor Records with this release, and so I think that they're going to hit a small, not too many days, maybe like a 10-day run kind of thing coming up here at the beginning of 25 or early spring of 25. So I think it's going out West Coast
cool.
from what I understand. But yeah, it should be dope. So I'm
Yeah,
excited for that one. But
yeah, cool.
cool, man. Well, any other things that you can think of off the top of your head
Man, I don't think
before we
so.
just jump in?
I don't think so. I mean, me and Chris kind of talked about this with the holidays coming up. I'm sure some of this gets put on pause a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I
So
think so, but I'm just thinking of like the shows. I have at least five more that I know of
yeah,
right now that I'm going to.
yeah,
Like either I have tickets for them or like I know I'm going,
right.
So we'll
Oh, that's
see. I think
good
that
for
I'll
you.
I'll, I'll be out in a few more. So uh we'll see. Where should we start here?
I don't care. I'll start if you want me to start.
Let's do it.
So kind of fits going into like new music. So um the band that well, just so people know, we're back to doing like a local. This is like a local episode, right? So
Oh yeah.
um I feel like we've just not really done anything structured in a while. It's either been interviews, which are awesome, or the Furnace Fest stuff. So it's kind of nice to get back to a little bit of
Right.
normalcy for what we do. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about a couple local bands today. Um, I have been going like really deep and hard into Texas bands, and I don't even remember how I found these guys. I think another band posted about them and said you guys should check out this band, and it was one of their singles that they released. It's called Spiral that came out earlier this year. They're called Soul Exchange from Austin, Texas, and uh, pretty sure it's a group of a couple guys have been playing in other bands. I think two of them play in this band called Virtue, which is like just pretty heavy, hardcore, borderline beatdown from Austin.
Yeah.
Not sure what the drive was to start this band, but they're more of like a crossover, like thrash hardcore band, and they just released an EP. Shoot, what was it? A couple weeks ago, last week, the 25th of October,
Yeah.
I think was the date.
So yeah.
And it's freaking awesome. Like it is so good. It encompasses so many parts of heavy music that I'm a fan of right now. Like they've got insane riffs, they have ridiculous breakdowns, they have awesome sound clips, like sound bites from like movies and stuff. Like to me, this is everything that like a thrash crossover hardcore album should be, or EP should be. So uh, I know I sent it to you guys, like I sent it to you and Chris to listen to, but what are your thoughts on the EP? What are your thoughts on these guys?
So it's super dope. Since we've been doing these, we call them local episodes, right? But um getting more involved in like specific scenes and starting to listen to like multiple bands from the same scenes and stuff like that. One thing that comes out of Texas is that thrash influence.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about this a lot, and these guys are like the face of what I would expect from a Texas hardcore band.
Yeah.
You know, you have the thrash influence. It's a heavier thrash though. It gets into it's almost, I hate to say it like this, but it's like a beatdown, thrash beatdown type of sound kind of thing. I think when I was first listening to it, I was listening to the song Bleed, and I text you and Chris, and I was like, it's Lamb of God, but hardcore. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can't listen to Bleed and be like, oh, that, like, Mark Morton wrote that riff,
Yeah.
or Willie Adler wrote that riff.
Dude, the coolest part in Bleed is when he has like kind of the clean singing. Do you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah.
I freaking love that because it's so different. Like I don't know, it's not singing. Like it's not like you're listening to like one of these stupid metalcore bands nowadays that sing, but like it caught me off guard, but in the best way in the song Bleed because it's like a chanty singing, and I'm like, that's so freaking cool. Like
It
it
caught
fits
me off
so
guard
good.
too. That's the only time they do it, right?
I
It's
think
just that
so.
one song.
Yeah.
Like, I've listened to this quite a bit, and yeah, you'll have to like go and listen to it, but it's like you get the Lamb of God riffs, then you get kind of that beat down sound, and then it goes into this what you're talking about. Like, it's not quite like nice singing like what you'd get
Yeah.
on like the current metalcore sound. It's it's like metal singing, you
Right.
know.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good
It's
way
like
to put it.
metal
Yeah.
singing. So
It is.
it's dope. It's
But
fun.
it was fun. That is that's the perfect way to put it. Like it was fun to hear that part in the song. And then like right after in Bleed, it goes to like a guitar solo
Yeah.
and then it goes into this breakdown. But what's cool about the breakdown is it starts off just like a pretty cool like metal chug breakdown, right? But then they add in these like really sick riffs and it kind of speeds up. There's like a lot of interesting tempo changes in the breakdown that I was like, this is like really cool. And
Yeah.
I know a couple of these guys play from bands that have probably been around for a little bit, but the quality of this song is like way better than what you would normally hear from like a band's first EP, right? So you can tell these guys are like talented, they're skilled, they knew what they were doing when they recorded this, and it flows and sounds so good.
Yeah. That's an interesting point right there. It's just like, I feel like that's becoming more regular. What you just said about like this EP is better than what you would expect from most bands' initial EPs.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about this a lot, that old bands that we listen to, those first EPs, those first albums, you're kind of like, I don't quite know what you're doing here. You know?
Yeah.
You don't get that a lot anymore. Like, everything is so accessible these days, and social media has it in such a way that you either hit the ground running or you
Mhm.
just will not succeed. And so everything is so polished.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about this in the terms of like production polish, like we've talked about, where it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where everything's just like, what we talked about with Josh, everything's digitalized on exact tempo, all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm not talking about that. It's just a well-written
Uh-huh.
front to back 6-song EP that it's like Reviler.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's just good.
It's just good,
It, it's interesting because it's interesting you make that point because we talk a lot about like accessibility with music now, but we haven't really talked about it that like I think people are way more skilled musicians because learning instruments is more accessible, right? Like you could be a kid and just watch YouTube videos. You can plug into a MacBook that you buy online for 300 bucks and start recording stuff. And you know what I mean? Like, I think that part of music has also become way more accessible to where people are just better at it nowadays,
dude,
you know?
that's true.
And so you see a band like this, and I know these guys played in other bands. You know, this is probably songs and riffs and things that have been floating around in some of these guys' heads for a while. They're musicians because they play in other bands, so it's probably easier to step into this and be like, you already know what to do, like you're experienced, and you hear that in this album. But I also think there's other bands, like local bands I've heard up here in Dallas that are like these really young kids. Look at Twisted Luck, man, out of Alabama. Like you grow up with your dad who plays in a band that's already musical, but like it's going to be way easier for you to learn that instrument, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's good. Like it's just better quality stuff. Like, I mean, we have boomer takes on a lot of this, but I think that it's cool that younger kids can be better at it now, you know?
I think the other big thing that happens too is like, and maybe this was just us, right? But like growing up, trying to like record your stuff, the recording sounded terrible. You know, what you were just saying about you can buy a $300 MacBook and you can just plug in and start going. Like new musicians today can write music that sounds good on a recording.
Yeah.
We like when we were doing our stupid band, like we would write riffs, we would put the songs together and stuff, and we're like, that sounds really cool. Like we enjoyed playing it, we
Yeah.
enjoyed like having it in the live setting. When we went to like record it, and listen, we recorded it some kid's basement whose dad just happened to have recording equipment,
Yeah.
right? Like it was not a good setup, but the recordings, not like the recordings were shit anyways, but the songs themselves on recordings were also pretty terrible. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
it was fun in like a
Right.
live setting and like writing it and stuff, but like the structure wasn't there. Like listening to it on a recorded version was not enjoyable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where like they have the luxury these days of being able to like write a riff and be like, okay, well, how will this riff go with this riff?
Yeah.
Or how will this bleed into that? And be able to formulate songs that just sound good together.
That's an interesting take as well, because like I wonder if that's a big problem just in music in general nowadays, is it's like people don't write music that's like meant for people live. Cause like we wrote stuff and it was always like, dude, this breakdown, like people are gonna fight during this. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
we didn't care how it sounded. Our whole thing was like, dude, does the build up to the breakdown, is that good enough? Like, we
Right.
gotta, like that's what we were thinking. And like, I wonder if though, like people nowadays care less about that. And they're like, well, we just need to make sure it sounds good. And like, it's cool that it sounds good. But at the same time, like when I see these bands live and they suck, then it's like, or it's not fun, or they don't have energy, or they're not part of the scene and it's not like a good show out for it, then it's like, okay, cool, man. You sound good on Spotify. Like, what's the point? I don't get
Yeah.
that. And to bring it back to this band, I don't get that from this band,
No.
right? It sounds awesome. Like this is an album that like I have been blasting in my car for like the last week. It
Yeah.
sounds incredible. I can promise you that if and when they come to Dallas, like I'm going hard. Like
Yeah.
this is gonna be good live because I know these guys. Like they play in other bands. I've heard a guy that we were made friends with at Furnace Fest is from Austin. He says Virtue rips.
Yeah.
So like I know these guys are gonna be right there, and I'm really excited to see them. I hope they come up here soon, and this album is incredibly solid. If people will go listen to it.
Yeah. I totally agree. My favorite song off the album is Bleed. Consumed by Pain, though, just the initial song is great. And then True Face, it actually has the Virtue
Yeah,
feature on it as well. So, like, that's the other thing that I like is that these bands who have members who are playing in multiple bands are playing together too. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just better to build the whole scene. Don't fight amongst each other.
Yeah.
Like there's enough to go around.
Well,
So
especially because if you listen to Virtue and you listen to Soul Exchange, like you should be able to tell that they're different, right? Like
yeah,
some of the riffs in Soul Exchange just aren't going to work for Virtue. But that breakdown at the end of True Face when the
yeah,
Virtue vocalist comes on, oh, dude, it was like, it's nasty.
yeah,
Like the way that it just slows. And I love, like, I've said what I've said about Beatdown, but I really love those like really tight like breakdowns in Beatdown that like
yeah,
they're like hitting the hi-hat and it's like, they'll chug and hit the hi-hat and then it will stop and there'll be like pause and then keep going. Like I just like Southpaw from Florida does it like really well.
yeah,
But that breakdown at the end of True Face where he kind of like hits the bell and then it's just like pause and then like breakdown, pause, break. It's just, I don't know, dude. It's deep, it's heavy, it hits hard.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. No, I'm listening to it right now. Like I really enjoy this kind of stuff. So, and we just got to talk about Pure Bliss and everything. These guys aren't straight beat down, right? You do have that thrashy influence to them as well. So there's something else to this, but it's yeah, exactly what you're saying there,
Yeah.
man. Like so good. So that is Soul Exchange. The EP is Two Faces of Shame. Definitely go check it out. The single that they put out too earlier this year, Spiral, like you said, fantastic.
Solid.
It's a uh, really good single as well. So I think they just played this last weekend. I'm not sure if they have anything else coming up, but I'm sure that they will be doing more stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep an eye out for them. So we're going to move from Texas out to California. I've been singing this band's praise for a couple months now,
Yeah.
right? So we're talking Darasuum, and this band was introduced to me. Like I said, we talked about this on the Kyle Fisher episode, uh, but Brandon Heatley of Slumped was the one who brought these guys up. And this isn't a newer band. These guys have been around for a long time. Like 2009 was
Yeah.
their initial demo. And before that, these guys, at least I know the vocalist was heavily involved in quite a bit of stuff going around the IE and things along those lines. He was initially, his name's Gabe, and he was in the band Bound in Blood, the straight edge band Bound in Blood. Um, I know in listening and reading interviews with him, he was pretty involved with like Suicide Silence early on, like not part of the band, but like they would play shows together. He was friends with like Mitch Lurker, like all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. And their last EP that they put out, 4 songs, Thriving on the Divide,
So
it
good.
is some of the best hardcore that I've heard this year.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. Like my favorite song is the title track, Thriving on the Divide, but coming in with Drown is incredible. All 4 of these songs are incredible. But oh man, like Thriving on the Divide, when he goes in and he screams, "This world is truly mine." Haven't said this in a long time. Physical freaking reaction, bro.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it just sets the tone so much. Like, it's that anticipation. The entire crowd can go forward. Everyone can sing. Everyone can pile on that part. And then you're going to turn around and just see a war zone
Yeah.
happening behind you.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
But
So one
enough
thing
of
that
my gushing. Go for it.
no, dude, they're really good. And um I was actually chatting with the vocalist what was it last week or something?
Yeah.
And because he was saying thanks for like the shout out or whatever the Kyle Fisher episode from Notice
Yeah.
a Victim, and I asked him, I was like, what does it feel like, to have a band like that shout you out and then bring you to play shows and stuff? And he was just like, it's unbelievable, and but that speaks volumes to like who you are as a band, that like, a band like Notice a Victim's been around longer, almost as long as we've been alive,
Right.
like they've been staples in hardcore for a while, and to have them be like, yeah, Darasuum's like legit, it's like you got to feel good about it. You got to know you're doing the right thing. And yeah, this EP is wild. One thing that I've always appreciated with these guys, well, not always. I mean, I barely found them, but
Yeah.
since I found them, what's interesting is like a few things I've noticed. They do drop tune, so like it's a really heavy like sound musically, right? I like though that the vocals aren't like, because I think it'd be really easy to do like a deathcore vocal, like this really
Sure.
low, like impending doom type scream with this kind of music. I like that he has a higher register on his scream. The other thing is that it's just in your face the entire time, right? Like Soul Exchange like has songs where like sometimes it like breaks down and it kind of slows down and they've got guitar riff parts, and it's like more musically done that way. These
Yeah.
guys were just like, no, we're like 100% riffs in your face the entire time. They don't slow down unless it's a breakdown, and even their breakdowns like aren't slow. Like the one that you were talking about on Thriving on the Divide, like after he screams, it's still
It's
like
an
the
up
drums are
tempo.
fast. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's got a faster tempo to all of it. And I love hardcore that is like relentless. It's
Yeah.
just in your face the entire time. And I love that about these guys. Even
You
they're
know,
older, like you get into the other EP, like the Angry Brigade. Same thing, dude. It's just like fast tempo, in your face heaviness the entire time. It doesn't quit. And I love it.
exactly. And his vocal style, a lot of the old straight edge bands had that kind of
Yeah.
style. You know what I mean? And I think starting in Bound in Blood probably kind of set the tone for that. Because if you're growing up in California and you're surrounded by the old hardcore and everything, but then what's currently coming out is they're creating deathcore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Mitch Lurker, if that's like one of your best friends and he has his wild super highs and super lows, right? Like Mitch Lurker's incredible.
Right.
But to go back to that hardcore style, that hardcore sound, and just keep it like that way, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And so like you said, I really like that. I really enjoy that. I like that it feels like when I was listening to some of their interviews, he was saying that kind of like their first demo, first EP, Bite Back EP, they just were writing stuff that was like, oh, we like the Acacia Strain, we like Comeback Kid, we like just a variety of things, and they were just throwing it all in. They weren't necessarily like, this is the sound we want to do. We're like Thriving on the Divide. It is a consistent sound
Yeah.
front to back, and it's just like straightforward and solid. I still like the old stuff, right? Like the demo stuff, what I found really interesting, I didn't know really how to describe it, but there's the song, it's the very first one, Seasonal Friends.
Yeah.
And the way that it's like, he's like yelling, he's not really screaming. And it sounds like it should belong in like a Southern hardcore song.
Yeah, the like pinch harmonic that they do during the like breakdown. That's like, and then
Yeah. But
like
even like,
that's very like 2006, 2007, like metalcore, hardcore.
yeah, but even like how he's like delivering the vocals and
Right.
stuff,
Yeah.
like it's all about that. Like I'm listening to it right now, like it's like a minute 12 or something. It's fun. It's like a heavy Southern kind of sound.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. And then you go into the Bite Back EP, and Brandon Heatley said his favorite song was A Place Called Home. It's like straight up Comeback Kid,
Yeah.
like it's so good. It has those chanting parts, it's the fast hardcore and everything, but they have really starting with the Angry Brigade, and then Angry Brigade kind of gave them a direction. Thriving on the Divide solidified the sound that is absolutely phenomenal, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah,
Like,
it's cool to see the progression they've done. I mean, honestly, kind of feels like the progression that we've done in music, you know?
that's actually what I was thinking. I was like,
Yeah.
thinking back on this, it's very reminiscent of how I feel today. Because, like, more than anything today, I am much more into hardcore than I ever was in like early 2000s,
Right.
mid 2000s. I was so into metalcore. I was so into like the southern sound, the chaotic rock, all of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. I love that. Today I'm like, give me a good hardcore band and just like let me enjoy,
Yeah.
you know? So I don't want to think too much about it.
Yeah. No, I hear you, dude. I mean, these guys are incredible. So,
But no, I was super pumped that they got added to the shows with No Innocent Victim. So they've got two shows coming up. They are playing Friday, November 22nd, Saturday, November 23rd. Again, it's No Innocent Victim. On the 22nd, there's also Dynasty and Cake Eater. And then on the 23rd, which is a Brick by Brick, that's with No Luck and Purest Bond. So, like, that's another one. I'm like, I
yeah.
want to. This is a band who I want to see.
Yeah.
Like, and like, I will probably go at lengths to go and try to see these guys, you know? So I don't know. I just like, I'm a huge fan. I was watching 197 did a recording of them at Chain Reaction from
Mm,
a few weeks ago, and their shows just look great.
yeah.
Like you said, it's the style of music where there's always something to do. There's no pause in it. You can
Mhm.
two step, you can pile on, you can swing. It's just front to back, fun the entire
Yeah.
time. So,
Yep. No, dude. I 100% agree. This is like, I mean, we could say this about every week, but I really enjoyed the two bands that we picked today because it was just really fun, interesting hardcore to listen to. You
yeah,
know, it's not neither one of these bands are like just typical hardcore bands that I think you're going to hear everywhere today, you know?
yeah. And listen, like people might think we're dumb by saying that because, like, maybe they
True.
do. Maybe they sound a lot like other stuff coming out right now. But when you take the time to like sit down and like, with the way that we have to do this, where we have to like I don't want to say we have to force ourselves to find things to talk about, right? But when you like listen to the music with an intent to be like, dude, like, why are these guys different? Why is it
Yeah.
like enjoyable to me? It makes you listen to music differently. Like, I was cleaning out my garage yesterday and I just turned on, it was 4 Years Strong. I was just like, Alexa, play 4 Years Strong. And just had it playing in the background. And I love 4 Year, you know? But if I was to hear them today, I would really have to like do that. I'd have to be like, why do I enjoy this?
Yeah.
You know? Otherwise it might just get passed over by me.
Yeah. No,
So
it's a good point. I mean, look, we listen to tons of bands, right? Like there's tons of local bands out there. And we've said this before, like sometimes it's hard to find bands, but honestly, like when we hear bands like this, it makes it real easy,
right.
you know? So like don't take our word for it. Again, this is like what, 10 songs in total? Just go freaking listen to 10. Well, I know Darasuum's got like a lot more, but if you're gonna listen to like recent stuff,
Yeah.
it's like 10 songs. It's a single album to listen to these two bands. Go do it and tell us what you think. Cause like, we listen to a lot of music and there's still stuff in these bands that are like, I'm like, that's different, you know,
Right.
like that's unique. That's not something that I listen to a lot of. And maybe there is some of that out there, and send it to me, please. Cause I like this and I want more of it. So,
Right.
but these are just solid bands, dude. And it's fun. Like it's just fun hardcore. So
Absolutely. I'm super stoked for it. I think next week, I think we have another interview planned. We've got like 4 interviews that we're trying to
yeah,
schedule right now. We've got a lot of interviews coming up, but we're going to try to get back to this. Uh, I've been talking to Josh a lot again. I know he's chomping at the bit to get back on here as well. So we're gonna have a uh, nostalgia band or something coming out again. We'll have to see how the holidays go, though. Like, we won't be missing any time, but we'll see. Maybe there'll be an extra episode here or there. Just slip an interview in if we can. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm pumped to be back. I took a couple weeks off after Furnace Fest from like
Yeah.
listening to music,
Same.
and now I'm like I'm itching again, and it's
Yeah.
fun.
Well, and like we
So
said at the beginning of this, I think we both have a few shows that we're going to be hitting up. So,
yeah,
we'll post what we can about them. And yeah, honestly,
yes, sir.
just go listen to bands, go listen to music, send us music.
That's the biggest thing. Send us music because that's honestly like anytime someone recommends something for me now, that's where I'm like, okay, if someone is going out of their way to be like, go listen to this band, there's usually something about the band to
Yeah.
enjoy, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm all about that. But dope. Well, we will be back next week. I should have 2 shows to talk about
Good luck.
for next week. So hopefully I survive. But
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah. It was fun, man. Good bands.
Yes, sir. All right. Peace.
See ya.